Welcome to the Interview Podcast, the voice of InterCT. InterCT's aim is to help young athletes become excellent individuals through the vehicle of soccer. Love the game, love to learn, and love to compete at InterCT.
Hi, everyone. Back with another Interview Podcast. I'm Aaron Mazzola, and today I'm joined by Tom Robinson. How you doing today, Tom?
All good, mate. How you doing?
I can't complain. Now I'm currently sitting with Coach Anthony. He had a bit of a procedure today. He had LASIK eye surgery.
That's it.
So
Coach Stevie Wonder. We've got it at the moment.
Yeah, Stevie Wonder with the glasses. I'm babysitting today. So but yeah, we have a good podcast. We have some important things to talk about that involves, player development and I think the growth of the club as a whole. And some things that players can do to better themselves outside of a training that Leon has been working on for a while. But we can get into that in a little bit. So, really quick, Tom, our sessions at Tomlinson tomorrow got canceled. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I live in Fairfield and looking out my window, not much snow has cleared. Just so parents are 100% in the loop, the issue we have is you're not allowed to clear the snow off the turf because you can damage it. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's not like clearing the snow off your driveway. Obviously, if whoever decides to clear it, you damage the turf, that's a big expense just for trying to keep one session on. But also, I think another thing to keep in mind, even if the turf was clear, the temperatures tomorrow are going to be very, very cold. And
Cold.
it's a holiday weekend as well. So, we hate to cancel things. But, if there is a weekend when, based on attendance, it's a good weekend to miss. And I think as this podcast continues to go, we can talk about things that kids can be doing if they are desperate to get those touches in when practices aren't on.
Yeah, definitely. But we can start off with a tournament that we have coming up early March. This tournament is for our USL Talent ID InterCT program for invited and selected players with a kind of emphasis on player development. So if you're a player that we have players throughout this club that have started on third teams and now we're playing on first teams and also being invited to these tournaments and showcases. I don't know if you want to name names, but we have a 2010. We have a U19 player that was named player of the tournament or team of the tournament at the USL Academy Cup. Trevor, who played on a third team, right? He started.
Yeah, he was our half field player, half goalkeeper when I first started working with him, and that was 9 years ago. So yeah, it's like we said before on this podcast, right? We're trying to get these kids ready for a game much further down the line, right? Yep. So I know when I was coaching Trevor when he was a U10, did I think he would get to where he's got to? Probably not at that moment, but that's, you could say that about most people, when kids are sat in math class and science class, you don't know where they're going to end up in, 10, 12, 20 years. And it's exactly the same thing with soccer. You've got to go through the process and enjoy it. But yeah, no, mate, to your point, the kids that trust the process. And again, you guys hear me talk a lot about the 2010s. They're a special group to me. I've worked with them for a long time, and they were the first ones to benefit from this pathway. So, we have kids in there, which is so good to see when we have like 14 of them being considered to even play and represent us. So it shows, one, what the talent level is, and two, how much it drives the rest of the group. Why am I not involved in that group? And then it drives them on. And then now the 2010 SL team is now playing in the top bracket inside Connecticut as well, because they're being pushed harder because they also want to make the next group. So it just ends up having a great overall effect. But to your point, yeah, like there's a kid, Nolan, awesome kid, really like him. He would be the first one to admit when he joined the program, technically he wasn't great, but right. he loves soccer. He wanted to get good coaching, and the funny story with him is we couldn't get him on the roster when he first joined. He started as a practice player, then he joined the EDP team, then he joined the SL team, then he joined the regional team, and then down in Tampa last year, he was one of the captains for a few of the games, and then he's also been invited again this year to come and play with the 2009 so he's playing a year up. And then some of the other boys that are also going to Tampa this year with Patrick Flynn, same one. Couldn't really get the coaching that he wanted from his town program. Came into us as not one of the best players, just worked his socks off. And then Emiliano, who's probably been here maybe longer than I have. And he started with Leon in when we was Everton America in the Tiny Toffees days and went all the way through. And again, he was invited last year, and now he's gone through, and he's going to be playing this year as a 2009. So it's really exciting. And I think to get it back to where we started this conversation is we want the younger guys to have something to look forward to, understand what their pathway is, and because of all the things that we as Inter Connecticut have going on and one that AC Connecticut have going on, it's just difficult to look after the U9, the U10, the U11, and the U12. So, I think what we're going to start doing as a club is trying to look what do we have in-house so that when we get to U13, we know exactly, okay, these are our best kids at 2012 for next year. These are the kids we've got coming through at 13, 14, 15. And then it just puts us as a club in a good place, but also parents. They know what to expect because, there's a lot of different teams and leagues just have different initials and little abbreviations that not many parents know what they mean. So for us to streamline it and make it a little bit clearer, that's our ultimate goal.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree with that. And, we have the ability now to field some quality teams and compete with programs at a high level. I think that it's worth to talk about really quick, Tom, the levels that we have in the surrounding areas around here. I mean, there's certain clubs around that have been part of Connecticut soccer for a lot longer than Inter. And on paper you may say that they have better programs, or because of their heritage they have better programs, but where I think Inter is headed, and I've said this many times in the past, but I believe we're headed in the right direction, and with the Zone 1 Academy, now with the girls program, the DPL, with our top teams 2010 playing ECRL, we have programs and a pathway now where you don't necessarily have to go and travel 45 minutes. If you live around Norwalk at Fairfield, Westport, wherever it may be, you don't have to go travel to New York Soccer Club to get quality training, quality coaching, quality competition. So there's I can't I can't put anybody down to go want to play at a high level, but it really depends, I believe, on the program and where you fit, what you call home, and what feels comfortable to you.
I think that's a big thing, right? I think the issue that we have, and we can't control this as grassroots coaches, just like feet on the ground, is the US system is just a little bit all over the place. If I'm 100% honest, as someone who grew up in England and came over here, it doesn't make sense the way it does. And I think that trickles down from how the way the MLS is run. And obviously the college sports over here is very different to in England. I used to go and watch my friend play in college, and there was like 3 people and a stray dog at the field, where if you went to Fairfield U and Sacred Heart just around the corner from us, there's a lot more people there watching and whatnot. So that I think that affects the way things get put, because the main reason I'm mentioning that is the league's changed so much. Every year there's something new. Like 2 or 3 years ago, no one was talking about the USL. There was all MLS Next, and now that's changing. And I think what ultimately the issue is, everyone's trying to see what the best option is. From my time here and working here 9 years and seeing all these different leagues come and go and change, I honestly believe that this USL platform is the best one. I like the fact that you can still play club for your team that you've played with for so long. So you can still do that. Typically like high school age, I'm talking here. You can do that winter and spring. You can still then play for your high school, which the more I watch high school soccer, the more I think it's beneficial. I went and watched Ludlow this is Ward, and there was over 600 kids there watching, and and just having that environment and being in the. Don't get me wrong, the coaching's not always great. I've watched many high school games and stood there and gone, this doesn't look like soccer to me, but it's a different environment. The coaches there are being told to win games, get to the state,
Right.
get to this, get to this. They don't really care about, we're going to spend 12 weeks playing out from the back, because after those 12 weeks, your seasons could be over. So it's a very different structure. And then also those kids that are kicking on, you can then play in the academy. You can come down to Tampa, you can play in the ECRL pathway. So for me, it's truly the best one. Some of the MLS next ones, you can't play your high school, you can't play club. You're only stuck with that one thing. And in those environments, they're only looking to develop one player. If they can sell him or make him into the MLS, they've done their job. Where for us, it's a lot more, we're trying to feed everybody. We're trying to make sure we're giving the needs to the RL players, we're giving the needs to the SL players, the EDP and some of the CT teams that we have in the high school. So yeah, overall, that's my favorite. We might look back at this podcast in 2 years' time and it'd be totally different.
Yeah.
But as of today, February 16th, 2024, that's my hot take. So
Yeah, well, I think it's important to note, and you said it inadvertently. Well, it's hard to predict the future, but as of right now, I feel, I mean, maybe I'm a little biased because my brother plays in the championship, but it isn't a more accessible way to go about wanting to be, play at a higher level or wanting to be professional. You have USL League 2, which is still amateur, but it's semi-pro, so you can go and play in the summer at a quality level and then go back to school and play for your school team. You don't lose eligibility for that. It is just more accessible, and it is growing, and there's more expansion teams and more academies, and we're just happy to be a part of it. But like I said before, as Inter, we are growing within the club, and we have the programs and the want and desire to grow these programs and develop players. So with that being said, we spoke a little bit about, trusting the system, but, it's like I said before, if you want to go and try to pursue the best football you possibly can, somewhere, whether it be somewhere else in Connecticut, whether it be New York, all power to you. No problem. I bounced around to so many different clubs when I was a kid. My brother did as well. But like I said, it's so important, and the landscape of soccer.
Yeah, I think while you're on that point, and this just popped into my head because I had this conversation this morning with a family. Don't get tricked by other clubs saying you're coming in our top team, because someone else's top team, the so-called A team, might be the equivalent of our EDP team, or another team. So, a lot of clubs say that when they I've been offered this spot to go and play on the A team, and the A team might not be able to play in the same leagues that we play, because like we say, we talk about it as part of the Zone 1 Academy. We're one of 6 clubs that can do it. So if you're not playing at one of those 6 clubs, the highest level that one of the other clubs could play at is the equivalent to what our EDP teams play at as well. So,
yeah, sure.
I don't want to talk bad about clubs, but I do stand by. I think there's quite a lot of used car salesmen
It definitely
that are out
happen.
there that are, and I think we have to own a lot of credit to Leon and Marty for that. They want us to be open. They want us to be honest. We won't lie to our families. We'll be straight with you. What type of team am I signing up for? This is where they play. We won't hide league standings from you, because what I'd rather be honest from the start, and then instead of dealing with it in 4 months down the line and saying this is not what I signed up for. So, I think that's a big thing is, don't forget you're paying for a service. If you are paying tuition at a soccer club, you're not in an academy. If you are in a true academy, it's free. So that's the easy way, black and white, to see. Am I playing academy soccer? Okay, did I just cut a check or have to pay a credit card? Then you're not paying academy soccer. That's why all of our additional things that we do, which ties into the USL, we cover, because we thoroughly believe that that's the way it should be, and then we don't want to lie. So when I sit down with Leon and Matt each month to look at the numbers, those numbers are pretty big that we have to put out, but we believe that we want to be able to cater to everything at the club and allow these kids to play. So,
well, I mean, that goes along the lines with, deserving the opportunity. You have to work hard to be selected for this. So it's it's not everybody has the right to be selected. You have to work for this. You have to, want it. And along with the selection, it's paid for you. You've made it already. Now you have to go and work towards, the end goal of winning that competition. But like I was saying before, it's more about, because it is so difficult to figure out where you should be or what you're supposed to be doing. It's more about, coming from somebody who played at a decently high level. And, Tom, yourself, you've coached players that have played at a high level as well. It's more about being comfortable where you are. If you like the coaches, if you like the program, if you see a clear progression, then stick it out. I'm a big the grass isn't always greener kind of guy. Maybe you're having a tough situation at one day, and maybe this, it's better over there. It may not always be better. So if you're comfortable, if you're enjoying it, you're having fun, and you're progressing, then trust the process. But Tom, question for you. It is difficult to figure out where someone should be or getting the right information, all of this stuff. If you want the correct information, say on a certain league, Zone 1 Academy, where should parents go for that?
I think ideally they would reach out to me or the coaches. Most of our coaches full-time, they have a good grasp of it. I know it all just because, and you experienced one the other month. I have to sit on these league meetings, so it does make me smile when I'm talking to families who are looking to join the club, and they're like, oh, I've spoke with this club, and they're saying they're joining that league, and I'm like, you're not, because we have to approve them to jump onto that format. So, I know, like I said, as of today, I know everything that's kind of going on in Connecticut. If you want to speak to Gene regarding the girls, Steve regarding obviously the union stuff's a little bit different. They don't compete as of right now in the Zone 1 Academy. But, as we continue to grow, maybe our top team in the Zone 1 Academy is a regional group where we pull from all the teams. And then we kind of go that way, what the girls do to match there. So, yeah, there's EDP are smart. They don't put everything out online. Like they don't break everything down. And if they did, it'd take you ages to find it. But yeah, we're a big fan of EDP. They came into the state at a tricky time that they've made good. I think they've managed it well. I think you don't have to be a rocket scientist to look at the state of Connecticut, how small it is, and realize that there's so many clubs to understand. Maybe it's a little bit diluted. Not everyone's a travel player or a premier player or an academy player, but that's just the industry in the US. So, we do our best to then try and cater all of those needs. I've always been one where I want our kids to play at the highest level. I want them to get beat. I've coached teams before and we've won every game 6, 7, 8, 9. And then I look at it and be like, well, that team wasn't really that good. It's not really challenging us. So, if we go the whole season and we don't have close games and we win every game, then I'm more worried than a team that's lost every game. Because obviously winning helps, it helps morale, it helps boost confidence and whatnot. But like we said at the beginning of the podcast, we're getting these kids ready for those games down the line. Trevor Pegg playing in those games at All Saints on that bouncy grass field got him ready for playing in the USL and marking a US national pool player out of the game.
Yeah.
So,
well, that's a fair point as well. Where you are right now is not final. You're on your third team. You're on a second team. Even if you are on the first team, you can be moved down. You can be moved up. And, that's how it should be, though. You should have something to work for. Oh, not just I'm on the first team. Now I'm going to stay on the first team.
Yeah. I think for me, it's and again, Leon and Marty, we don't really like A, B, and C team. Is this my A team? Is this my B?
Right.
What we want it to be is, what is your pathway? What when you get to the ages where it matters, high school, college, what experience should have I had during that time? So because if you're on an RL team,
development is so different for everybody.
Correct.
Everybody learns differently. They learn at a different speed. They develop at different paces. So it's not necessarily first, second, third team, but it is how you are correctly placed on that team and how it is challenging you and how it is giving you some
And then a kid at U9 and then a kid at U13, U14 before they go to high school, they can be night and day. They can be, you know, physically different, mentally different, socially different. They could play multiple sports by that age. So, you know, just because, I was the best player at U9 doesn't always translate to being the best player. Like we talked about at the beginning, Nolan couldn't even get on a team at U10 and now at U14. He's one of those. And obviously, I'm only talking about Nolan because he came through that. He's like our poster boy. You know, he came through development center, practice player all the way through. We've had kids who have been with us since, you know, and the actual team. And I think that also helps. You know, we actually on that group, we've had some kids that have been with us so long so that when new kids join us, these kids that have been here, they already know the culture, they know the philosophy, they know what they're going to get, which ultimately helps. If the rosters keep chipping and changing every couple of seasons, then you don't get that continuity.
Yeah, very true. And I think that's a good segue to, individual development. There's something that Coach Leon has been working on for some time now. You could say that it's probably more of a labor of love kind of situation. And it was something that Leon worked a lot on during the pandemic. And this is his Teachable program that used to be subscription based on teachable.com or .org, whatever that site is that we no longer use. But now all of the resources from Teachable, Hannah was so kind to upload onto Sports.
So glad Hannah got that job, by the way.
I know she's killing.
I might have put out of office on mine if Leon had sent it to me.
She's killing busy that day. Anything that I send to Hannah, she's like, "All right, it's done, no problem." If you ask me that, it'd be done like 4 business days.
That would so much uploading she must have done on that. Must have took her ages.
I know, it's crazy. But to access the Teachable, you go to intercityfc.com website, hover over the more, all the way down to resources, click on resources, and that is all of the Teachable videos. There's some tutorials on here. There's some stuff for coaches. I will tell you though, there's not everything is up and fully functional. And also some of this stuff can be found on YouTube as well. But for example, passing and control, there's certain things that, and we say this all the time, you don't just learn at training, you develop outside of training as well. So a lot of, the saying 10,000 hours. Have you heard of that, Tom?
Yeah.
10,000 hours and you become a professional or something like that.
Yeah.
That's not just at training. I mean, you train for 3-4 hours a week and games on the weekends. It's the stuff that you do outside of training, after school or even before school. I used to go on and do my workouts before school. But this Teachable for parents, parents that may not have played soccer, this is a great thing that you have as a free resource that, hey, Greg, let's go and pass in the backyard. Here's some techniques how to play a short pass. Oh, wow, look at this. I can receive with the inside of my foot. Oh, wow. That was just, maybe not the best demonstration, but
I was just laughing at when I do that. I always pick up like the most random name. Like you pick Greg, and if I was doing it, like I always pick the name Bob, and I'm like, I don't think I've ever coached a Bob.
Yeah, I don't know if I have any Gregs. I played with a Greg once. But yeah, so Leon's Teachable is on the InterCT website. Again, if you go over more, hover on more, it's on the resources button. So now that we don't have any training tomorrow, maybe this is something that, players can do. Oh, wow, we don't have training. Maybe I'll go on Teachable and I'll look at the coach's challenge one. I'll pick a challenge and I'll try to do that. This is Colin on here.
Yeah, doing a little bit of juggling.
Yeah, he does the juggling one.
Yeah. No, I think to what Aaron's trying to get at, like this, the pandemic was a crazy time. I remember doing Zoom classes in my front yard while cars are driving past, and just trying to think, wow, it seems so long ago, but also doesn't feel that long ago all at the same time. So we wanted to put this in an area where parents can use it as a resource. I get a little bit frustrated when people come up to me and was like, I don't know how my son can get better when we give them VO footage, we give them evaluations, and we also have now this free platform. So, being honest and 100% truth, your kids are not going to just get better from the 6 hours, 5 hours a week that they do within
Even in the
Connecticut.
winter now, it's only
Yeah.
2 hours.
So this is what they need to do. Obviously, if you're snowed in, you don't need much space. You could use you could use the basement, the garage, obviously not with something with an expensive TV on the wall or something, but there's so much stuff that you can do on there. And some of them are also just videos, hey, go watch the passing. Okay. I'm going to, then there's like little clips of, players that are really good at it. That was one thing where I had a player once, and he would struggle mentally to get ready for games. So I had a conversation with his family, and I was just like, listen, on the way to the games, just watch YouTube. You know what I mean? Whatever position he plans on playing that day, or whatever position we've worked on in practice, have him watch YouTube clips of that. So then at least that's the last thing he sees, instead of being sat in the car. Mum and dad's going, oh, you've got to do this, you got to do that, you got to do that. And the kid's like, I don't really want to play now, because all you're doing is telling me what to do, where you can then watch something on YouTube and that. So I think this stuff's great. I would stress to use it as much as possible. I would ideally like kids to come into a practice and do this instead of just doing the pointless thing of smashing soccer balls in an empty net.
Right.
If I saw a kid's coming, oh, Coach Tom, while you're finishing that session, do you mind if I get some cones and I set up the challenge that I saw on your resources page? I'll be like, wow, that's amazing. But no, usually we just have them running, smashing soccer balls, someone gets hit in the head, and then we got to start practice 5 minutes late because we're dealing with a nosebleed. So
Yeah, well, it's again, it's a great resource that we can use, and it doesn't even take that long, 10, 15 minutes. You pick a challenge, you do a challenge, pass, juggle, whatever it may be, and you'll see the difference. You'll see the progression. I mean, I said this, when I remember the podcast with my brother Tom. We used to just go up to the high school, walk up to our high school in Somers, and just smash balls at each other we were there for 2 hours. It doesn't even have to be like that, but because we used to do that basically every day growing up, he has probably one of the best right foots as a goalkeeper that I've seen.
Yeah, no, I agree, man. I'm just clicking through this in the background as we record this podcast, and there's so much stuff. There's like
a lot on there.
Yeah, there's like a 7-day plan for like 77 players.
But again, not all of it is going to work. Hannah, as great as she is is still relying on Leon getting some of this stuff over to her. But it may take some time to get it up there. But Coach Anthony and I were actually talking. Tom doesn't even know this. I think we're gonna do a YouTube Shorts kind of tutorial thing.
Nice.
So yeah, maybe next week when Anthony's got his new eyes, we'll head.
No excuse for bad passes then. Pressure's on.
We'll head out to All Saints and see if we can get some tutorials recorded, so we can throw up on this Teachable and also the YouTube. But yeah, I mean, there was some good stuff in this pod, I think, Tom. So this one, we will try to get some timestamps in so that you don't have to listen through the whole thing. Try to help out some of the busy parents that we have at Inter. Is there anything else that you want to add, Tom?
Just the usual again, guys. If you do listen and you find it, helpful, please let me and Aaron know. Mainly Aaron, just CC me and I'll read it. And Aaron's taking the lead with this because obviously we just want to know people are listening to it. So, when we look at it, and I know I've listened to it 3 times, my mum's listened to it, and Leon's listened to it, and Leon's cat's listened to it, and we're like, oh, who are the other 3 people? And but this last one, I had at least 4 or 5 people reach out and say, hey, no, this helped. Can we look at doing this next time? We actually got some questions, which we'll get to maybe in another podcast. But, if people finding it useful, then, we our coaches are full-time. We've got so much knowledge that we'd like to share with you guys. So just, hey, Tom, can you talk about this? We'll add it to our little document, what we're talking about, and go. For me, it's gone full circle. I had a parent reach out about their son next year isn't going to high school, but he's in the age group that's going to high school. He's just, his grade doesn't go to high school yet. So I just said, hey, listen to this podcast. I had a new player join us who wanted to understand the USL pathway. I said, here's a podcast, go and listen to it. And they just all replied saying, this is great, thank you. So, you know, it's beneficial. We know it's a great resource. We just want everyone using it. And we're doing it for you guys. So we just want to make sure you are getting out of it, you know, what you need. And obviously, if you get bored of me and Aaron just talking about it, then maybe we can bring on some special guests. But, you know, we do want it to be a source of information mainly.
Yeah, well put, Tom. Well put. But yeah, appreciate everyone listening. Give it a share, give it a like on YouTube. Text me, email me if you have any questions. We'll answer a couple questions on the next one we record today, which will probably be out next week. But yeah, feel free. Enjoy your Saturday off, everybody. And thank you for listening to the interview. Take care.
Thanks for listening to the Interview Podcast. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, find us on Facebook and Instagram, and check out our website, www.interctfc.com.